Hey everyone, welcome. We have a very special guest, Mike Mankowski from Jersey. Welcome to the call today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
So we brought Mike on. He's one of our clients. He's been with us almost 6 months, a little bit under 6 months now, and it seems like he's gotten almost a 20x ROI in his campaign up until now. So I wanted to bring him on to dive into that a little bit to understand how he's been so successful, what his business model is like, what he thinks about PPC, maybe the good, the bad, the ugly, and we'll just talk about your business too. So thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike, for coming and sharing stuff about your business. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what part of Jersey you're from?
So I grew up just outside of Princeton. That's where I'm originally from. And then I was living down the shore, Monmouth County area, Asbury Park, for those people that know it. And then about 2 years ago, two and a half now, I sold my house in Asbury Park and I moved down to South Florida. So I live in the Delray Beach area now, but I still operate everything up in Jersey.
Ah, very cool. I grew up in Jersey too, in South Plainfield. So,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
right
it's my
around our area.
yeah. My wife, she's from Point Pleasant, so I know the
Okay.
area really well.
Sweet.
Yeah. Jersey's not an easy market. I mean, it's the homes are pretty expensive. It's very competitive. There are a lot of homes, but if you could dive into a little bit, so you do Jersey, but you moved to Florida. Why not switch to Florida? Tell us a little bit about the Jersey market.
For sure. Yeah, so I got started probably like 8 years ago. I was buying deals for a couple of Homevestor franchisees at the time, doing acquisitions. Then I went out on my own. I flipped a house with a buddy of mine that we actually found off of Facebook, ironically. Did super well with that. And then from there, we just took those dollars and started marketing. That was back in like 2020-ish, 2021. Saw pretty great success right off the bat because that's when it was like the Wild West with texting people. So
Yeah.
we were just firing off like a ton of text messages back in the day and locking up deals up there. And then about 2.5 years ago, like I said, I moved down here to Florida. I started to dabble in deals down here and trying to learn the market and stuff like that. But the market down here is a 180-degree difference to what it is up in Jersey. Jersey, it's just now starting to hit, I feel like, a tipping point where it's not as competitive, or at least the buyer pool is looking for a very specific type of product. We had like a good 3 year stretch where everything was just going over asking 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 sometimes,
Yeah.
on anything. So that's tapered back a little bit. Um, to now people want more of a renovated product, a good product, not just some type of hack job rehab stuff. And down here in Florida, it's a lot slower. It's very high days on market. Very different towns are selling in different ways. So stuff is still selling well if you're in the nicer higher end towns, and you're priced appropriately. But overall, I'd say it's definitely slowed down here significantly. So I was back and forth a little bit, like I said before, but my primary focus has gone back to New Jersey, and then especially working with you guys, we've seen some really great success the last 6 months. So we're full steam ahead up there.
So, what kind of volume are you guys doing? Not just with pay per click, we can dive into that, but I'm more curious about your business in general. What kind of volume are you doing? Gross revenue, deals. What does your team look like? Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, I'm kind of laughing because it's very changed over the last 6 months and many times over the last 2.5 years. Um, I would say we slash I have averaged about 2 deals a month on average up there. Um, but with the competitive nature of the market, there's been some very big swings. So,
Yeah.
like the last 2 years, we'd have 2 or 3 months of literally no deals, and then we'd have 4 or 5 deals all at once. So it's averaged out to about 20 to 25 deals a month. This year, we've definitely kicked it up overall. We're on, as long as today happens and goes through with another one of your guys' leads, we're looking at 7 deals just from you guys in the last like 5 months. Um, I've always been primarily a wholesaler by nature. I have a couple of rentals up in New Jersey as well. And we do, or I have done some flips, but I've switched that model to flip pretty much everything. Um, and moving back towards some assignments just for cash flow aspect. But yeah, I'd say the majority of like the exit strategy is now fix and flip.
Are you doing everything yourself from the marketing to the acquisition, disposition, all the leads?
No, so I have a partner in Jersey now. He also is the realtor that sells all of my houses, so he's basically my boots on the ground. I've known him for a super long time. I grew up learning the business with him and working for him at one point. So now we've become business partners over the last year or so.
So he'll go put the lock boxes on and things like that.
Yeah, I mean he's got a team, so he won't even do that. He's got other people that will,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he's the one that's kind of handling like the final walkthroughs on our projects, making sure everything's, looking correct and all that type of stuff. Um, we have a couple of VAs that handle just like our TC stuff, and our marketing side, and then acquisitions is primarily me. And then, obviously sometimes the seller doesn't want to deal with you, they're not picking up the phone, whatever it might be. So I'll pass that stuff off to him as well. And then we have two people that also dial for us as well.
Gotcha. And because you're virtual, are you locking up everything on the phone, or how does your sales process go?
Yeah, good question. I've always been a in-person person. I prefer that. There was, I think, like a pretty big wave of doing virtual appointments, especially once COVID hit.
Yeah,
But I just believe that you do business better belly to belly, especially with our avatar as
sure.
a lead seller. So
Very
I think that
distrusting seller. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, and they're typically older, right? They're
right.
at least 40 on average, I would say. So they prefer that, I think, whereas like younger guys like us, we're fine. This is how we grew
Right.
up in this era. So I've always preferred in-person appointments. So if I can lock the deal up over the phone and it makes sense, obviously I'm always going to do that. But we really do try to book the appointment to do a walkthrough, meet the seller in person, go over the process with them, make the offer on the spot, if they're ready, and lock it up when we can.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
cool. So is that
it's a hybrid.
does your partner do it? Who goes
Yeah.
over there?
hmm
He the main guy, or do you have like other salespeople that he delegates? Because that's an important thing. I'd be nervous, because I used to wholesale a bunch of Delaware, and outsourcing that is tricky because that's your whole business, really.
Yeah, so I would say it's like 50-50. 50-50 in the sense of if he's going to the house or not. A lot of times we will just send like a runner for photos, and I'll set that expectation over the phone with the person. I'll
Sure.
just let them know like, hey, I can't make it. I'm going to send somebody from my team. They're going to take a bunch of photos. As soon as I get those back, I'm going to call you and give you the offer. But if we get somebody that calls in or inquires to the web form or whatever it might be, and we're like, this is a great lead, it's hot, they're ready to go, that's when I'll try to book my partner, because he's tried and true, a closer. Like nobody does better than him at the appointments in person, getting those contracts signed.
Awesome.
So it's really just a qualifying process to determine that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Do you ever go to NJRCN, that networking group, the RIA?
But
You been
yeah,
there?
back in the day I went a few times. I haven't been in ages though.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I
Oh,
used to go there when I got started. So
sorry that.
yeah, all good, all good. Cool. Yeah. So a couple of things about the PPC. So you're doing texting, things like that, right? What made you want to get into internet marketing? Did you try other marketing channels? Like, what were you doing? I guess maybe besides texting before you started doing PPC, and then what made you want to go into it?
Yep. So I started out buying deals for those home investor franchisees, like I had
Right.
mentioned. Their entire business model is direct to mail and pay per click. So from the get go, I always knew like inbound is way better than outbound, if you have the budget for it. When my buddy and I started out, and texting was, like the Wild West back then, it was easy, like it was just low hanging fruit. So we had moved to that. And then we tried PPC with a couple of other people, and had 180-degree difference of an experience than what we have had with you guys. So it did not go too well. However, I actually did work with you guys previously when I wasn't running my own company, but I was doing the acquisitions back in the day. I was also buying for these two guys that were doing just like small deal flow, and they were only utilizing you guys, and it was like clockwork. They would spend, and we get some decent lead flow every month or two, but then every like third month, I would tell them like, you guys just get like a home run deal. It was like crazy. It was like
Yeah.
75, 80, $90,000 rips, and I was like, how is this like so consistently happening? So this year, when we reevaluate everything at the end of last year in December, I was like, okay, where are we putting marketing dollars into this year? What's going to work? And my partner in Jersey, he was like, let's do PPC, and I was like, I got PTSD from PPC. Like, I don't really know if I want to go spend on that. And so I said, I was like, look, I've used a couple of different people. I've not had great experience, but these guys that I used to buy for have used Wholesaling Inc. And if we're going to do it, let's do it with them. And best decision we've done in the last 7 months, that's for sure.
Appreciate that. That's awesome. We get
Yeah.
a lot of leads that call us who've been burned by other agencies in the past. You don't have to name drop if you don't want to. I mean, there's a million agencies out there. But can you talk about what kind of left you with the PTSD, the bad taste in your mouth, kind of common things that you've seen, and maybe things other people should watch out for?
Yeah, for sure. I was just talking about this with my partner yesterday because we were just going over the numbers on everything. We're in the process of getting like a fractional CFO to help with the cash flow management and that type of stuff.
I can
And
hook you up with mine if you want. I got one from Argentina. He's pretty cheap, but he's
okay,
really good. Yeah, I can put
we'll
you in touch with him.
we'll take a recommendation for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so we were looking at everything, and it was funny. We were like laughing because I was like, the last few people that I've used, it was just like a joke. Like I was better just burning money, and it really did come down to, like in any marketing channel, you have to have that sifting mentality to determine who's going to convert properly and where to put your time into. But those previous companies that we had used, it was like you couldn't even sift. There was like nothing to work from. Like a lot of people were just out of state leads. A lot of them were wholesalers inquiring to the forums. So it was very difficult to handle or get a handle on that lead flow and convert it because there was just no workable leads at the time.
So just like bad lead quality, and the leads are like really expensive, basically.
Yep, exactly.
Is there anything else besides? I mean, that's obviously the number one thing, but anything else? Like, I'm just putting myself in your shoes, right? Because this is just such a common thing. What do you tell the agency at that point? Like, obviously, you see this happening. I'm assuming you're like a pretty trusting guy. You give people a chance. Sometimes things take a while to get started. We tell all of our clients it takes 2 or 3 months to get rolling. So, how do you handle that type of issue with the agency? What did you do, and how did they respond?
Yeah, I mean, my rule is always like give it 3 to 4 months bare minimum. So we pretty much tried everybody for at least 3 months. We gave one company a 6 month attempt or close to 6 months. And I was like, if we're not able to convert like a listing opportunity out of this many leads, something's off, right? And it wasn't the sales side of things, or maybe it was partially, but once you get to a certain point, it's like, okay, if we've had 50 inquiries or 65 inquiries, like even if you're the worst salesperson in the world, you should be able to convert one of 65 on inbound. So it just boiled down to us being like, look, it's just not the right fit. Like we don't have the capacity to just continue to spend money and not get ROI on that. And in the back of my head, I was always comparing to my buddies that used to work with you guys when I was buying properties for them and being like, well, they crushed it. And have ebb and flow. Some months are great, some months aren't, but
Sure.
over the 12-month timeline, it's going to even out to be profitable, or it should be.
Gotcha. So regardless, they basically would tell you what, like, give it time, or like, I'm sure you brought up these problems with them. Did they have any solutions or anything like that, or just kind of wait and it just never panned out?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, give it time. Maybe we could tweak something in the campaigns. Um, I didn't really dive too much into it, to be honest, and maybe that was also my fault. But like, even now, Brandon from your team will hop on the monthly calls. I'm like, we're pigs in shit happy. Don't touch anything. Leave it how it
Sure.
is. You know, like
Sure.
I sometimes like I feel bad hopping on the call because I have nothing to say. I'm like, if it's working, there's no, just leave it. Let it continue to work.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. So looking at your campaign, just from this year, you've spent a little over 20 grand, so 25 grand plus our fees, of course. And you've got a little over 100 leads. So roughly a $200 lead cost, which is pretty good for New Jersey. I mean, the leads New Jersey is a pretty expensive market. And I have of those like 100-ish leads, let's say. Now this includes spam and crappy leads and all that stuff. This is just like
Yep.
anyone who fills out your form. How many deals were you able to lock up from the 5 months you've been with us?
Yeah, so I said before, we've got 7 deals with you guys. That's including the contract that we should be getting signed today. We've got a verbal on it, so it should go through. Um, 7 of them, six are fix and flips. One is a rental that we're probably keeping, but it's dependent on like the tenant situation and what we can do with them. So actually, sorry, 5 are fix and flips. One is an assignment, and one is a rental.
And what is your estimated gross revenue you anticipate from all of that?
Yep. If we sell the one that we have as a rental, which is included in I'm looking at like our cash flow projection sheet. It looks like we should come out at around 576,300.
off of a $24,000 spend.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Like I said, pigs and shit.
So diving into that a little bit, I mean that's 7 deals off of almost 120 leads. So what is that? Roughly 20 leads a deal, a little bit less than that, maybe 15 or so leads a deal.
Yep.
Um, that's pretty average, to be honest with you. Like that's not like we've had someone on the podcast who's closing like 1 in 4, and he was like really crushing it, different market. But you don't have to be some like Mike's really good at sales, I'm sure, but he's not some like magical genie. These like 1 in 15 is pretty standard. I think one of the keys for you is how you're able to profit so much. So 7 deals, 500K. What is that? Like 70K on average a deal, right? Something like that, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah. Average per transaction is showing 81, but that's including that's 3 other houses that we have that we're renovating right now. That's not PPC. So yeah, probably around that number.
Do you have that number, like what the average profit per deal is for PPC?
Uh, so we have like a net dashboard that just says like our total projections of everything. I don't have the per profit transaction average for just PPC.
It's
I
probably
can,
around 70,
yeah,
70 to 80. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, gotcha. Um, yeah, so we did a study analysis across all of our clients, current, former, et cetera, and went through all the deals. So we have a system where we track the deals and which keywords turn into deals and stuff like that, and which ones are flips, which ones are wholesales. And the average flip profit for our clients is 56 on average across the country. And that's average. So you're a little bit above average, but you're not like crazy high above average, to be honest. Like
yeah,
it's solid numbers, and that's why PPC I think is really powerful if you have your systems down. And I think you are the ideal client, like somebody who is in a good market, who understands sales and it flips a lot, right? Because the math works. He's closing 1 in 15. He's making a little bit over average flip per deal, and he has a 20x ROI, basically doing a little bit above average,
right.
which is crazy. So if you were wholesaling, what is your average wholesale profit in general? You know that roughly?
I don't know that offhand. Like 2 years ago when we calculated it, we were like right around 30 on the assignment. The one that we do have from PPC is a 25K assignment.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, in Jersey, in at least in Central and North Jersey, I don't really touch too much in South Jersey. We're averaging like 25 to 30. Like that's really my focus of where I want to be if I'm not going to keep the deal for myself.
gotcha. Yeah, and that's less than half the profit, and that tracks to what we see across the country as well. Like average deal
Mm,
profits 20 to 30. Um, and people who run PPC and they say, "Oh, this campaign is not really working well or is barely working." Like if you were just strictly wholesaling, you'd be spending the same amount of money per deal, but you're just making half as much. And then it kind of seems like, oh, well, it's a marketing channel that's not performing, but in reality, a lot of it has to do with your disposition process, right?
right.
So what made you go into flipping? Is it really just like you want to make more money? I mean, flipping's a different business. That's it has its own headaches, right? So
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question because the last few years I was heavily assignment focused, and I just kind of cherry pick like one or two a year to flip. So I think part of it was that end of year last year I looked at and I said, okay, based on the amount of work that I did, if I did X amount more, how much more is that multiplier on the profit side? And it just made more sense to start taking more deal flow down. I also repartnered back up with my buddy who works with me and sells the houses for us. So like that was a huge help because I trust him more than anybody to be at these houses, to be selling those houses, since I'm not in that market. Um, and I think just the nature of the market itself, right? Like things are tightening up there. They've been tightening up nationwide and in majority of other markets. So like you said, I could make 20 to 25 on the assignment, but for example, one of those leads that we got from you guys were closing on Friday. All I did was close on it, put a cleaning lady through it, and put it right back up, and it's a net 92 net spread. So,
that's crazy. What market is that in?
Bud Lake, New Jersey, Mount
Bud
Olive
Lake.
Township. Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
that's
Northwest
nice.
Jersey.
That's
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened to be just like one of the cheap, like we're the cheapest home on the market by like 100 grand. And that's like our our big focus is that we always aim to wholesale everything. If we could be cheapest home in that town by 50K, we're going to put it up as is and test the market. It just happened that recently things are starting to shift a little bit more, so we didn't get as much traction on these houses. So after 5 days on market, we took them off and we started renovating them.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So what's next for you? I mean, with the rest of the year, the next 12 months, what's your game plan? Just doing more what you're doing or expanding or what's the plan?
Once I get that fractional CFO's answer, I'll relay it back to you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're definitely going to increase the budget. We've got 4 closings this month, so we'll see like a lot of that ROI come back, which is great. We're just trying to lay the foundation to scale properly and have a super healthy, profitable business. Because obviously the last couple of years have been very ebb and flow with the market and deal flow and all that type of stuff. So our focus is for sure getting a CFO in place so that we can make really smart decisions about marketing, and not just like throw money anywhere and hope it comes back. We've been really dialing it in with you guys and just the process of the acquisition and disposition. So we're heavily focused on that stuff right now.
Have you talked to David Richter, the simple CFO guy? He's like the CFO for real estate investors. I know he's
That
not cheap, but is he top of the list?
that's exactly who we were talking to yesterday.
Yeah.
So we've
Okay.
got a discovery call scheduled with them.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of clients who honestly their campaigns are working really well, but they end up having to pause because of cash flow issues. Like it's really
Yep.
tough, especially if you're flipping, right? Like flips could be 9 months before you see a penny back from marketing, right? You wait for the lead and then you got to buy the home and then you got to flip it and then you got to resell it. So I think you're really smart, and I wish we had more training on that. And I'm still talking with David about some type of partnership, but like I think it's needed for everyone who works with us. Is similar boat to you. Like cash flow is so important to managing that, and a lot of investors, myself included, like didn't really understand how to do it. So
For
you're
sure.
making the right
That's a
decisions there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the conversation we were having with them yesterday. They were like, "What's the best case for you?" And we were like, "We're good at sales. We're good at flipping houses. Like, we're not good at managing cash flow and money. Like, we want somebody to just tell us, don't do that, or here's the exit strategy you need, or day 90, you're gonna hit a gap of
hmm
you're gonna be burning, the cash in the bank. You need to have closings coming through." And I think that's a huge problem with people in the industry is they just don't have that knowledge base or guidance, and that's something that we've firsthand experienced. So we're actively moving to avoid that so we could be healthy,
gotcha.
profitable, and not stressed,
Yeah,
most of the year.
makes sense. Makes sense. And obviously, you guys are good at sales. What would you say are a few key tips or maybe systems you have in place or softwares or whatever you use for somebody who, let's say, they've done a few deals, they want to do inbound marketing, but maybe they're not converting as many as they think. Any key sales strategies you guys use?
I always like this question because people think there's like a magic, you know, response to it. I always joke, I'm like, if somebody comes into my system and they're a true motivated seller, like they're going to be really pissed at me at a certain point if they don't want to sell to me. Because like I follow up with somebody like it's my job because it is my job. I mean, we're closing in 2 weeks, a pretty large six-figure spread. It wasn't a PPC lead, it was a PPL lead, but I've followed up with them for 19 months, like religiously. And I think a lot of people just lose that follow-up in number 2 to 7. I'm there 7, 20, 52, 82. Like until you block me or you've told me that you've sold and I've confirmed it through the tax record, I'm going to follow up with you if I know that you fit our buy box. So I would say like just master the follow up game, but also understand not how to like be too pushy, which is why my partner is the best partner that I have because I'm a little bit more aggressive on that follow up and on that close, where he's a little bit more even keeled and calmer. So when we get certain sellers, I'll tell him like, this person is meant for you. Like you're going to be able to close them way better than I am. So if anything, just like understanding personality types, I would say is super super important, and the need of that seller.
So when you have an
Everybody wants to close
aggressive,
the everybody wants to close the deal just to
sure.
make money, but they're not listening to what the true need of the seller is, and that's really important.
Do you, when you say you have an aggressive follow up system, is it like, what are you calling them once a month or are you texting them 4 times a week? Like, what is kind of the rough rule of thumb you go off of?
That's the thing. There's no rule of thumb. If there's somebody, it's definitely qualification based. So if somebody comes into the system, like your guys' fill form says, like how soon do you want to sell it? If somebody's telling me they want to sell within 30 days, I'm booking the appointment with them right away or as soon as I can to be in person, and I'm trying to make that offer once I've confirmed like they are ready to make a yes or no decision. Um, and then at that point, I mean, it's a lot of script stuff, right? Like over the
Sure.
years, you just understand how to navigate that conversation more fluidly. But I tell people all the time, like, I don't want to bother you. If it's a no, it's a no. That's okay, and we won't do business. But if you tell me you're going to give me a decision and then you never give me a decision, you keep ignoring me, I'm just going to keep following up with you,
Right.
you know? So
Makes
usually
sense.
that line gets them to give you at least the no.
And so you can not waste your time anymore and then move on.
Correct. Yeah.
How quickly do you get to the leads when you see a PPC lead come in? What is your process right when you get that notification?
Instantly. Most of the time, you guys have the two-step fill form, and if people watching this aren't doing this, they're missing out heavily on a lot of conversion rate. Uh, Most of the time, I'm calling people even before they submit the secondary form, and they'll say, like a lady yesterday inquired to us, she's like, "I just clicked submit on the second form." And I was like, "Yeah, we're quick." Because the point is that once they click submit, they're going to hit back on the browser and they're going to go to the next person. I don't want to deviate them from doing that. So 99% of the time, we're calling them within 2 minutes max. Um, I delay myself on purpose to see if they'll get me that second fill form. But if it's like 3 to 4 minutes, I'll just call them.
So you just get a notification on your phone, whatever you're doing, what you're doing. You just stop what you're doing and give them a buzz.
Oh yeah, my fiance knows. She's in sales, thankfully too, so she gets
She
it.
gets
But
it.
like, we have our time. We're like, okay, we're not working after 6
Sure.
o'clock, whatever it might be. But she knows if that PPC lead comes in, we
Yeah.
got to take it. Somebody else is going to convert it if not.
We have a client down in, actually, he's in Florida. He does $4 or $5 million a year business. And one tip that he had, he uses Callingly. So callingly.com, which basically when someone submits a form on your website, it automatically calls the seller and you at the same time and connects it
Smart.
instantly. Yeah, so it really reduces that time to from form to call. Something to look into for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, and
we've.
then go ahead. Yeah,
I was just saying we've got it automated. So like I use Podio. I know some people are very
yeah,
anti-Podio. Some people love it. I love it. We've got it where it like automates a text message to them. So as soon as the inquiry comes in, it says, "Hey, somebody from our team's about to call you. Please be on standby," basically, and then we're dialing them right away. I get hesitant always about like we use smartphone, but a lot of times I just dial them from my cell phone on purpose because I hate that transfer between phone numbers. I think
sure.
like especially if they don't answer and I text them with a blue text message, it's just giving them a much more like real experience. But yeah, for trackability purposes, we're still logging always within Podio. Like, oh, I'm on my cell phone, connecting with them, and the follow-ups are still manually hit in there. But I do communicate with people with my direct cell phone majority of the time for that reason.
Gotcha. Okay. And what would you say are some key tips you have for people who, maybe want to do PPC, maybe they're not sure of, obviously I'm here to promote myself, right? So like you can say work with me, but okay, but like let's say they're talking to other people. How would you go about determining an agency to choose from, or maybe a mindset when they're trying to figure out what kind of marketing to do, or if they want to do PPC?
For sure. I would always look for recommendations. So scour the internet, scour groups, mastermind groups. Like I've been part of Collective Genius before and a bunch of other groups. Always ask those people. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what type of, mindset you have, I would also ask people in your market. I'm a pretty big believer that like there's enough deal flow to go around for everybody. So it's not worth risking in somebody's eyes, like giving up a vendor. And a lot of you guys will cap it too. Like you'll say, like, I'm only going to take on 1 to 2 clients per market, anyways, for that reason, because then you're going to bid against each other. But yeah, I would get recommendations from people. I think that's always just like the best route. Depending on what you want to do, you just need to understand like it's going to cost spend. You're going to have, especially with PPC, you're going to have money to spend. Some people don't want to be spending 7, 8, 10, 14K a month. And if you're not comfortable with that for 6 months with no return, then it's probably not the right channel for you.
That's very true. In your case, you're not spending, you're probably relative to other people in your market, like at least with PPC, like you're not spending a crazy ton of money. I mean, spending, you know, 30K roughly over 5 or 6 months. I mean, that's not, obviously it's money, but it's not, a lot of people
No,
think you
it's
need
nothing.
10 or 20K a month. And off the first flip, you made back your basically PPC budget for 6 months. You just
Yeah,
gotta, like wait for the first flip to get your money back 3 or 4 months in. Um, that's the hardest part, is like the first 3 or 4 months. But yeah, you've
for
been doing
sure.
really, really good. Um, one random question here for you, and then we can wrap it up. After hours, you said you kind of stop working after 6 p.m. or stop taking sales calls. What do you normally do when people, a lot of people fill out form after hours, late at night, on the weekends? What's your process for that?
It doesn't matter the hour.
Oh, you still
I've
call them?
had,
Okay.
oh yeah, I've had
Yeah.
phone calls at 10:30 at night with some of your guys' leads. I mean, it's the only time I'm not calling them right away is literally when I'm sleeping. But we've had people inquire. I mean, some of my best deals have been Friday night, Saturday night when that seller is in that distress situation at home and they're sick
Sure.
of, whatever's going on and they're sitting on their couch. Like, how do I get out of this situation? So I honestly kind of prefer the after hour leads because I think that those are the people that have a higher intent on the inquiry fill forms versus somebody that might just be like on a lunch break or, you
Hmm.
know, doing whatever. But yeah, I'll call them right away. And if they answer, I'll just say, hey, you inquired to to my website through the fill form. If you want to talk tomorrow, I'm happy to schedule a time that works best for you, and then we'll nail them down for a time after that. But I mean, speed to lead is probably the biggest thing. If you're not calling them right away, you're just losing out heavily.
We've had a lot of people tell us that I see a lot of buzz on the internet about like AI phone sales people, at least maybe after hours, or like call centers doing it. What is your take? I don't know if you ever thought about doing that or getting like an AI phone rep or things like that.
I'm shaking my head heavily at it. I'm a very like type A, go get it, not a lot of patient type person. I want fast results. I want fast responses. That's just my personality type. So like, you know, if you called somebody and it was like press one for this, press three for this, press four for this, like that type of thing really bothers me. And I feel like especially in our industry, when you have a seller that's like in a pretty distressed situation, like they want to talk to somebody that's real and they want a real solution. They don't want to be, you know, they don't want somebody that's going to beat around the bush. Especially in the Northeast market. I'm not for the
No one's
AI
got time for
agents.
that up here. No one's got time. Everyone's busy.
No, no.
Yeah,
People want, I mean, people call me all the time. They're cold calling me all the time. Like, you got 4 seconds on the phone to
right.
tell me what you want, or I'm hanging up. So
Right.
maybe in other markets it could work very well. I'm sure, like maybe more middle or Midwest or Southern states where people are just like generally more polite on the phone. They'll give you the time of day, but the Northeast, forget about it. I mean,
Yeah, I get it. I
state your
get it.
business or move along is kind of how it is.
Yeah, yeah. We always tell people that too. I mean, we haven't done a lot of AI phone sales testing, but like these are 70K deals we're talking about. Like, do you want to trust a robot right now to do that? I don't
Mm-mm,
know, man. That's the business, right? So,
no.
um, is there anything else, any other tips you want to share or advice you have for people as we wrap up here about wholesaling, flipping, PPC, anything like that?
I think a lot of people try to get into the industry like I did back in the day really fast nowadays. They try to just go out and do deals and lock up contracts without knowing their market or their comps or their costs. If you're in New Jersey or Florida for that matter, I am more than happy to show you exactly what you should be doing, not just locking up deals for the sake of getting a signature on a piece of paper that might screw over a homeowner. Feel free to reach out to me, Tim. I'll let you put my information out there for people to contact me. But I think people get allured into the business to make a lot of money, which is great. I love money. I'll be the first to admit it. Like that's why I got involved. But you are dealing with people in very distressed, tough situations. So if you're not approaching them with the right intent and understanding of how to do deals and how to disposition those deals or correct acquisition, you're not doing any service to them, and you're also discrediting your reputation. So just be weary of that, but also seek out people. There's a lot of people that are going to charge you. Don't go to those people. Just go to the people that won't charge you and will teach you the exact same thing.
So you're not going to plug a coaching program, MikeMankowski.com,
You'll
5K a
never see
month.
that. Yeah, you'll never see that from me.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
JV deals, right? That's how I got started. I JV'd with another investor, and he just
Yeah.
showed me how to do it because he made money.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah. I went on
Easy.
Steve Trank's podcast for like literally 2.5 years when I was like starting out and just watch every single video. And then I started working for somebody. And then we bought our own flip and,
Here you
you
are.
know, yeah. Well,
Yeah, makes sense. Make it look easy. No, I mean flipping is
yeah.
not easy. But for last question here for PPC, you've been burned before. What's your advice to people, like, or maybe things, myths or misconceptions people have about it, or things that now you've been having some success with it, things that you're experiencing now that maybe you didn't expect, just anything like that now that you've been on both sides of it, been burned, you've had success, um, any type of wisdom to share there.
It's hard for me to say because I'm one of those people. It's like if I don't know anything about it, I'm not going to even pretend. Like PPC is like another language to me. All I care about is am I getting good lead flow. So if you're very good at sales or you know how to buy deals, like you'll know within 90 days if that PPC provider is going to do well for you or not. Um, quick to hire, quicker to fire type of mentality. Like
Yeah.
don't waste don't waste too much time, but also give it just enough time. Like Ben Montlocker, shout out to him. He's If you're watching this and you don't know who he is, connect with him. He's incredible with just how he analyzes Eric Brewer's business that he works within and their lead flow process and sales process. He's always like big on give it 3 to 4 months bare minimum before you have any type of metrics you can make a decision off of. But yeah, I think especially within PPC, like you're getting inbound forms and calls. You're gonna know real quick if you're getting the correct lead flow with good intention to sell, or if whatever they're doing on the back end is bringing you the wrong people.
So you think within the first 3 months, just a black and white metric is lead quality, would you say? Or do you need to have like contracts locked up, or does it depend on your spend? Like people's kind of rule of thumb for like, man, should I keep going with these guys? They tell me to be patient, or should I just cut them off and figure out something else?
Yeah, I think the front side of it is lead quality. Like, are you, Tim, delivering on what your service is, right? And if you're delivering good lead quality, then the rest is on the customer. If my sales side sucks, that's not your fault. You can't control that, but you're giving me good targets to attempt to hit.
Right.
So if you're getting good lead quality and you're not closing, then it's something with you. It's your sales process, your follow-up system, whatever that might be. But yeah, from a service provider standpoint, if the lead quality is good, then I would stick with it and reanalyze what you're doing internally.
Yeah, makes sense. Sales stuff. So great, man. I appreciate you hopping on the pod. I'm excited to see how your CFO goes because hopefully he
Thank
tells you
you.
to raise the budget, man. Like let's keep it going, bro. There's
we
there's a lot
we
of
will be
room.
in September. Yeah, September. Once we get everything back in, we're gonna kick it up a bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Like every 6 months, kind of reevaluate once the flow goes, or every quarter we kind of reanalyze it. Because I think in Jersey, I mean, you could spend a fair bit. I mean, there's a lot of people there. You could
Yeah,
spend at least probably 30, 40, 50K a month. Not saying you should right now, but like you
yeah,
could get
yeah.
there eventually. You could run your whole business inbound. So anyway, I'm
That's the
excited for you
goal.
guys. You're definitely in a position to scale, and as long as you can, I think the hardest part won't be getting good leads. It'll be managing a lot of flips. Like that's
Yep.
that's that's the hard part, right, for you guys.
I
So
think the equilibrium is like knowing what to keep, what to not to keep at that
right,
point, and just assign. And we're already kind of hitting that point. Like we've
yeah,
got a couple that have come in. We're like, yeah, we're too busy on projects. Like they're gonna sit anyways, and then by the time we get to them and sell them, we're gonna net almost the same as we would on assignment. So
because of the
having that
interest, right?
is
Yeah, the
huge.
hard
Yep,
money. Yeah, gotcha. Cool, man. I appreciate you doing this. This is great. Thanks for being open about your business and stuff. And let's do
for
this
sure.
again in a year from now and see how things are going.
Hell yeah, sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Take care.